Delta Electric takes pride in being at the forefront of change in our industry. Our name comes from the Greek letter delta, which represents rate of change. We recognize that our industry is moving towards greener energies and energy-efficient technologies. Therefore, we're focusing on solar installations, green buildings, and energy-efficient lighting systems that not only save our customers money, but also create a better infrastructure that strengthens our community. We're not only limited to these projects, however. With our expertise, our knowledge, and the support of a strong union workforce, we can tackle any project.
We here at Delta Electric, we consistently strive through the proprietary software that's specifically designed to help us keep our projects on time and under budget. Safety is number one with ourselves, our employees, and those around us. Our primary goal is for those that work with us and our employees to go home the same way they came to us. We here at Delta Electric have the highest quality and safety standards.
Craftsmanship and proper knowledge are the keys to installing any safe and reliable electrical system. Our goal is always to eliminate downtime and bring peace of mind to our customers who can rely on our work to keep their businesses running smoothly. We are proud of all of the work that we do and will always work to make it right when things do go wrong. Our troubleshooting team is top-notch and can fix all and any issues that may arise.
We are Delta Electric. We are powering change. Hello and welcome to our presentation on Delta Electric. I'm Nick Sharan.
I'm Carlos Collins.
And I'm Jay Griot.
Together we came up with an idea integrating technology, many facets of it, with our business operation to make it run as smoothly as possible. Here to talk to us about our insurance and corporate structure, be Carlos.
Hello again, I'm Carlos Collins, and the structure that I researched was the LLC and the Subcorp S Corporation. In the beginning, with it just being the three of us, I guess the best vehicle to protect us civilly and liability-wise would be an LLC. That would put all the liability on our corporation and not us. And it would give us a chance for our corporation to gain credit and to grow. And as we grow and the more money that we make, we would file it as an LLC with an S Corp designation. And the reason that would be is because the dividend, as we'll pay so much in personal taxes, which as an S Corp, we will all have to give ourselves a salary. We'll have to pay so much in taxes with that, but with an S Corp designation, with an LLC, the extra profits that we obtain from that, our annual salary, are under a lower tax bracket. So that would help us in growing and getting more employees, getting more trucks, and getting more this and that. Now, as far as insurance is concerned, a $1 to $2 million policy would be good for us to get started because of the fact that we have service vehicles, we have expensive equipment, tools, and things like that of that nature, which assists us in doing quality work and performing at our highest ability. So for right now, with us getting started with the three of us, just the regular general liability, $1 to $2 million cover. But as we grow, we will get into workers' comp insurance, and from my understanding, for us to join NECA as NECA approved contractor, we have to have a performance bond. So we can find out how much, not sure exactly what that amount is to the performance bond will not be, but it's probably a very nominal fee, which would not put our cost with insurance no more than about $400 or $500 a month, maybe. And this will assist us in growing because the less money that you spend towards insurance and you keep all the liability on the corporation, this will give us a chance to grow, have our business grow and us to grow and to proceed forward and grow as Delta Electric become a giant. with us getting started, in order to collect our debts and have a bank account and our financial part, I guess the best thing for us would be is to have an accountant that I utilize that works for my, that I've worked with before. So what we do is we use my accountant, and then we would use QuickBooks. That would be our way that we track our incoming, our debts, our debts, our profits. We can track materials. We can track, we can track our costs and everything with QuickBooks. It'll help us itemize statements so we can keep track of it week to week and month to month, which will enable us to kind of, watch and have a little bit more hands-on as we grow. And then at the end of the year, we can print something out and take it to our account and help us file the appropriate taxes, charge the nominal fee, and we're done. It's not overwhelming and taxing at this point. But as we grow, then we'll look into getting a professional to do those things that we can do for ourselves. But for right now, as us being a new company, we need to kind of juggle and wear different hats. So the QuickBooks and the accountant that helps with our taxes, our tax person consultant would be great to help us grow and maintain.
At Delta Electric, safety is our #1 priority. There's no better way to cut back on insurance and medical bills than keeping a safe workplace where we limit injuries and all safety risks at all times.
That's right, Jake. We plan on helping to manage the risk by working with our insurance company for cost containment processes, working with them to develop procedures to make our employees safer and also cut down on workplace injuries or eliminate them, preventing any claims and lowering premiums. One of the processes that we have in place is for our foreman to address the crew on safety after every lunch and break. This helps bring about or bring forward any safety concerns that they may have that they might not have automatically brought up. It also serves as a reminder for the guys on the job not to take certain things for granted. A reminder to make sure you're using 2 hands when you're using a portaband, or to tie off when you're going to be stepping above 6 feet on a ladder. These things, little reminders here and there, might stop somebody from subconsciously making an unsafe decision.
Yeah, Nick, as well as our foreman keeping in touch on safety, we'll have a designated employee on every job site, a safety guy per se, that once an hour will make his rounds, make sure everybody's working safely, and giving friendly reminders. Hey, tie off to your rig. Make sure you're tied off above 6 feet on the ladder. Just different ways to keep the job site safe.
I also wanted to go over to our cell phone policy. We don't outright prohibit cell phones from being used on the job because we understand that there are going to be times where you have to take an emergency call or something to that nature. So we established a safety procedure to be able to do that on a job site and remain injury-free. Part of that is that if you do receive a call of emergency nature, you need to get to a safe location free from any traffic, obstruction traffic, or lift traffic, moving machinery, whatever it may be. And then once you know that you're in a safe spot, that you can go ahead and take your phone call or make your phone call, do whatever you need to do. This also goes hand in hand with our app. Our using technology on the job site requires the use of the phone on the job site, and we've created a policy that allows us to manage the risk while still maintaining job performance. It goes hand in hand with that personal cell phone policy. Whenever you're using our phone with the app for company purposes, you need to get to a safe location, free of any traffic or moving machinery, and before you do any functions or use the phone or app as you need. I'm going to talk about our marketing, our target marketing plan. So I want to start off by going over our targeted markets. Initially starting off with a lower amount of capital in the bank and lower ability to purchase larger equipment. I saw us starting out with fire alarm jobs, like smaller solar installations, the generator installations, and lighting retrofits, lighting system installations. These jobs generally don't require a lot of large and expensive equipment in order to complete them. Fire alarm, generally it's all fire alarm cable through bridle rings and a bunch of devices. So that generally is not a lot of overhead in terms of your actual equipment costs. So it's a great way to start out to make some money. The way we plan on getting our work is through service calls starting out. So the plan is that we go out to service calls and we do a great job of fixing the customer's problem, getting them back up and running for a commercial or industrial customer. And we, as a service technician, electrician, I'm looking out for old lighting systems or maybe outdated fire alarm system. Something that I can basically upsell to them. Say, hey, what's your electric bill look like? I notice you've got a lot of old metal halide bulbs. You can be saving a lot of money if we do either a total replacement or a retrofit to LEDs. The service call itself is just a way to get your foot in the door, and that opens up an opportunity for more jobs. So that will be our plan early on in our first couple of years, is to source a lot of our work from service calls. As we progress, we want to from the beginning, we're going to be getting into like social media marketing and whatnot, but it's going to become more and more important as time goes on once we start getting into larger projects. It's especially important when we're trying to establish relationships with general contractors to be able to bid their work. So we want to stay connected with them through sites like LinkedIn and Facebook. Not only advertising just to contractors, but also another important aspect is going back to service calls and individual customers. We will have a lot of contact information, and we can do email blasts to customers to tell them if we have any new exciting products or technologies that we can offer them to save them money, to improve their facilities, whatever it may be. Another method for generating business we plan on, especially with having our own marketing person available to us, is our ability to look into trade shows. We can go there, either have our own booth or just go there to network with other contractors that may have their own booth, establish connections, and make a good impression, and hopefully that will give us the opportunity to go bid their work. Another thing to retain customers that we already have be through giveaways. Nothing major, just small tokens of appreciation, Yeti mugs, stuff like that, just to say thank you for choosing us and continuing to choose us. Another way of staying connected to our customers and rewarding our customers' loyalty, the ones that general contractors and the customers that continue to pick us year after year, we plan on doing giveaways, just little tokens of appreciation to show that we appreciate them, we appreciate that they choose us as their electrical provider.
Hello, Nick Sharan here, here to tell you about Project Delta. It's our app, our project management app. The app itself is intended to maximize the efficiency of the labor force by facilitating communication on the job, as well as accurately tracking and checking the progress of the project. Let's get started. Before we discuss the app's main features and benefits, I'd like to touch on the safety and image concerns behind employees using the app in the field, basically being on their phones. First off, the app was designed in such a way to minimize the amount of time it takes to use any of the functions of the app. For example, if a crew member is placing a material order from the foreman, a text entry field generates based on basic keywords or only a few letters to generate possible selectable options that the employee might be trying to order. For example, if you typed in the letters RIG into the material entry text field, a drop-down would appear with several possible selections, such as rigid conduit, 2-inch, or rigid strap, 2-inch for unistrut. Not only does this cut down time spent typing out entire material orders by hand, but it is also essential to maintain accurate inventory counts. Project Delta also features safety alerts. This can be vital to inform employees of safety hazards in particular areas, or to alert everyone in the case of a safety stand down or sentinel event. Now, many customers might scratch their heads if they saw our electricians on phones without knowing that our employees are actually utilizing a tool in the field to facilitate smooth operation of the job. So with every bid pack, we will include a sheet that showcases the app's features and describes how it is a tremendous resource in the field and how we have adapted our safety policy to ensure that this tool can be used safely on the job. The job will also have various references and signage mentioning the app, Project Delta, to create an image of our app as one of productivity and efficiency. And speaking of safety, we have very specific procedures on properly using our company phones on the job. At its most basic level, we require any employee to stop what they are doing and ensure that they are in a safe location, free from traffic or moving machinery, before engaging in the use of any company phone. So let's take a look at the actual app. So what we have here is the home screen. So there's two different versions of the app. There's one for the use of the employees and one for foreman and management. This is the employee login screen. Every employee has an employee number, and at the beginning of the day when they receive the phone, they're going to enter their employee number and hit submit. If more than one employee are working off of this particular device, there's a plus sign next to the employee number text field. Just tap on that and additional fields will generate so that every employee is registered as logging in and at work. Let's take a look at the management screen. So here for foreman, we obviously want a greater level of security. So each foreman and above will be given a specific username and password. Let's take a look. Okay, so here's their home screen. Now, the foreman and crew members will have different versions of the app, like I mentioned earlier. A lot of the features are foreman specific. The main things that the crew members are going to be able to do are order materials, user messaging capabilities, things that employees are going to be able to do on their version of the app are order materials, use the messaging capabilities, and page their foreman for assistance. The page function, when an employee uses the page function, there's two types of alerts. One is urgent and one is not. This tells the foreman when the employee pages them that they need assistance or some guidance on whatever task they are working on, and the foreman will know where to go find them and help them out. So if they receive an urgent page, that means that the employees are at a roadblock and are unable to proceed with their work until they receive some advice from the foreman. If it's not urgent, then Most likely, there's the crew members have foreseen a roadblock coming up, and they will need some guidance on it, but are still able to carry out their work for some time before they will have to eventually stop working. Now moving on to the foreman section of the app. So the app is intended to be simple and quick to navigate. As I mentioned before, we want to minimize the amount of time spent using the actual app. You'll notice that the tabs on the left, these don't move. They can be selected and they remain on the screen at all times. Every function is just a tap away. You'll never get sucked into a proverbial rabbit hole of menus that you'll later find yourself hitting the back button several times to get out of. Now let's look at the time feature. There's a master list of all the employees that are on the job that are registered in the app, and they can be each assigned to a different foreman, or one. If there's only one foreman on the job, he will simply just work off the master list. So each employee that is under the management of a particular foreman, all of their crew members will show up here in the time tab, and crew members can be added or removed in case they're moved between foremen, or maybe moved to a different section of the job under a different job number. So meant to be very quick and easy and to do, so that you're not spending a lot of time on the app. And this is the app itself, or the tab itself, is used to keep time. So at the end of the day, when the foreman is ready to submit time, all he has to do is check the box that everybody was here, or if they weren't, they would not check the box. If any of the employees worked a different amount of hours, maybe left at lunch, or maybe didn't work the overtime that day, you can hit the edit tab or edit button right next to their name and manually change the number of hours that are going to be submitted on this digital timesheet, if you will. Moving on to the materials tab. So goal of this is to maintain an accurate inventory and count of all the material on the job, and to note what equipment is on the job so that it can be kept track of. And also we want our employees to be able to order material, the foreman to order material, so that they can keep moving. So if you're on a larger job that has a crib manager or an apprentice that's running parts out to different crews, the apprentice would have a version of the app that would allow them to receive orders and fulfill them. So if you take a look at the new order button, so you can order from, if you're a worker, you can order from your foreman or your crib manager. That's going to be the only option in the workers version of the app. Now, foreman and above can order additionally from the shop or the supply house. In this case, if you were to order from the shop, you could enter the items needed in the material text field. And you enter a particular item and it auto-populates, as I mentioned earlier. You'd simply click on it and it would be added to the list. And you would do this, keep hitting the plus button to add material. And once you have your full order ready and you're ready to either send it to the shop or the supply house, an automatic email is generated. And that can go at the user's discretion, or rather the company using the app's discretion. The email can go to, the email that's meant for the shop can go to the shop manager directly. The one to the supply house can maybe also go to the shop manager, but it will obviously show that the order was meant to go to the supply house instead of the shop. or if there's a separate person, or if you even can set something up with the supply house to where they automatically get emails, that is possible as well. Let's look at the crew tasks tab. So here you'll see that you're able to track cost codes with perfect accuracy. When we select the crew task tab, you're able to simply select crew members whom you'd like to assign to a cost code, enter the cost code, and hit start. You can see that here when I click the plus button, enter the crew member, enter the cost code, hit create. Once you've created it, you'll have several options. You can pause the cost code, registering the cost code. This would be done in the case of maybe a safety stand down, or perhaps there's some sort of luncheon at the job. That way you're not automatically tracking when work isn't actually being done. It makes your cost codes more accurate. There's also the complete button. So that's obviously once your crew is finished with whatever particular task, that you would just simply hit the complete button, and then you can move on to the next cost code. And also edit it, just in case you accidentally enter the wrong cost code, you can change that manually. Now the enter data button. So here a foreman is able to enter materials used by the crew on the job for this particular task, and it can also enter notes associated with it. This works really well for EWOs. That way material inventories can be kept extremely accurate, and overall makes the bid tracking even more accurate when you're taking materials into account. Getting back to the crew task tab. Now suppose you're in the middle of setting up a crew task when you accidentally hit a different tab. A nice feature about the app is that all of the tabs maintain their state of edit as you browse to the various pages. So when you go back to the crew task tab, after maybe accidentally hitting the materials tab, the cost code that you were entering is still going to be there. Let's look at the to-do function. So this is going to act like your standard reminder list. Helps keep the foreman organized. In case they have a meeting, they can manually enter that in their to-do list. All pages from notifications are going to show up here. Take a look at notifications. So you'll receive push notifications when you receive a page or you're sent a message. Let's look at the to-do tab. So this is going to work like your standard to-do list. You can manually enter things to do, for instance, perhaps a meeting that you want a reminder for. You can enter that manually. Also, any pages that your foreman receive are going to automatically come through on their to-do list. This helps them keep organized. Now let's look at the messages function. So the messages function is going to work just like any other messaging app. You're going to be able to create new messages, create group messages, and also is a push to talk function. This negates the need for radios on the job when doing wire pulls. You'll see obviously here that a group message can be created and activated. The push to talk icon here is located on the right side of the phone so that it's easy access to your thumb. Finally, a couple additional features that aren't mentioned under any tabs. So here you have in a drop-down menu, the only drop-down menu of the app, be able to change job numbers. So let's say that a particular project, you're entering multiple cost codes under different job numbers. This allows you to simply switch between job numbers so that you're entering the cost codes correctly. Just in case you're working on a job that's split up into multiple segments. Allows you to keep track of everything, keeps it organized for when someone looks at it later. The app allows foremen to assign and retrieve blueprints from the cloud. They can assign blueprints to a particular crew member or members so that they can pull them up on their phones. This negates the need to print out new blueprints, have them be lost or damaged. And another nice feature of the blueprint function is that the app can sense the size of the blueprint in a PDF format, and you can enter the scale of the drawing, and the app will automatically display a translucent ruler that will allow you to actually scale points on the drawing. Without the need of a tape measure. It can be done to the highest degree of accuracy possible. Another great feature for service truck drivers, or just for any user in general, you're able to generate quotes. In the example of a service truck driver, let's say you complete a job, you've tracked your own cost codes, you can now generate a quote that gives a breakdown in pricing for all the material and the job codes that you worked under, line by line. And there's even a section that they can sign, the customer can sign off on the work, and an email is of the receipt and invoice is automatically sent to their email address. That's about it for the app. Thanks for listening.
Well, we here at Delta Electric, we would like to be the pinnacle and the #1 company as far as apprenticeship learning. We noticed that as apprentices that go through the 5-year program and matriculate into journeyman, the better journeyman that apprentice becomes is the better employee that we will have. And I would like to keep a high standard in educating our apprentices so that those type of apprentices become the foundation of Delta Electric. And it would be a great place for apprentices to come and learn, and it'd be a great place for journeymen to work and to consider training apprentices. We're not going to make it mandatory, but we're going to have a select few of journeymen that are actually responsible for their apprenticeship training and assisting apprentices and developing apprentices. That's what the future is. The future is in our apprentices.
We want to rotate our apprentices through various job sites and job types so that no one's getting too much of one area. We want them to be well-rounded, especially when they turn out, even if they don't turn out with us. It makes our local stronger when we have well-rounded apprentices. Another aspect that we will explore is being a learning shop, not just for apprentices, but also for journeymen. So part of doing that, we envision that taking a small amount of time, maybe a couple hours, when we have either out-of-town travelers coming in, or maybe a journeyman coming in from the hall that just doesn't have a lot of experience on the type of job that they're coming into. We take a little bit of time, just train them on a couple things, couple tools they might need to do better on the job site. For instance, if there's a lot of big pipe bending on a job, we can take quick 2 hours and just go through using a one-shot real quick and just show them the different formulas and stuff. It doesn't really take that long, especially for somebody that's already got their license and is maybe familiar with it or was, but just needs a refresher. A lot of things like that, just so that when guys give them the tools that they need when they get out into the field to be successful.
Here at Delta Electric, we strive for efficiency while never letting quality take a backseat. This is especially true in our prefab shop. Prefabrication is an excellent way to cut down on costs of a job significantly. And there's no better way to accomplish these goals than with our user-friendly hands-on app. In our daily operations, our foreman in the field will get on our app, and fill out a prefab form as follows: date needed by, ordered by, job location, job number, quantity, description, and a drawing. Once submitted, these forms will be immediately accessible to our prefabrication wiring. This will change the old school way of printing, drawing, scanning, emailing, and printing again the prefab forms. When a new build calls for thousands of strut trap pieces, our app will play a huge role. Schedules will be uploaded to our app that consist of length of strut, length of rod, and number of trapezes at specific lengths. We'll be able to generate exact number of nuts, bolts, feet of strut, feet of rod, so that we can cut back on wasted material. Delta Electric will change the way prefabrication is operated for generations to come.